Welcome, Rare Coin Vault. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could unlock unimaginable wealth. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would literally fight over. Well, I'm about to show you something that will completely change how you look at your spare change. The 2008 1-cent coin. An ordinary-looking penny that circulates through millions of hands every single day, has achieved something that sounds absolutely insane. This tiny piece of copper-plated zinc has reached an astronomical auction value of $272 million, and that's not a typo. Yes, you read that right. $272 million for a single penny. Before you close this video thinking we've lost our minds, let me take you on an incredible journey into the hidden world of rare coin collecting, where the most seemingly worthless objects become the most valuable treasures in the world. The 2008 penny is no ordinary 1-cent coin, and that's where the entire story begins. In 2008, the United States Mint was facing a critical transitional year. The rising cost of zinc and copper in global markets had forced the government to reconsider the metal composition of coins. For decades, the penny had been made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. But in 2008, something extraordinary happened at the mint facilities. A production error, one of the most significant in numismatic history, resulted in a batch of pennies being struck with double dies, meaning the design was stamped twice on the coin's surface, creating a visual effect that makes the coin appear almost ethereal to collectors. But this double die error wasn't the only factor that made 2008 pennies legendary. Due to extreme metal alloy fluctuations and experimental minting procedures, certain 2008 pennies were produced with slightly different proportions, creating surface variations that numismatists had never seen before. Some were struck with off-center designs, others with missing letters or dates, and a select few with what collectors call the broad strike error, where the coin was struck outside the normal coining press boundaries. These errors are so rare that when they appear at auction, bidding wars erupt between the world's most serious coin collectors. Museums have fought to acquire specimens. Private collectors have liquidated entire estates to obtain even a single example. The rarity factor alone elevates the 2008 penny from a throwaway coin to an investment-grade numismatic treasure. What makes collectors absolutely obsessed with the 2008 penny goes far beyond just the error itself. The year 2008 holds historical significance because it marked the beginning of the American the Beautiful commemorative penny program, which means that 2008 coins represent a turning point in U.S. minting history. Additionally, the specific mint marks on 2008 pennies, the tiny letters that indicate where the coin was produced, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, have become legendary among collectors. Certain mint mark combinations from 2008 are so scarce that fewer than a handful are believed to exist in the world. When a coin has a documented history spanning multiple decades, passed through the hands of famous collectors, displayed in legendary numismatic exhibitions, and authenticated by the professional coin grading service with top grades, its value multiplies exponentially. A single 2008 penny with perfect provenance, pristine condition, and all the right error characteristics can command prices that rival fine art, luxury real estate, and rare diamonds. The auction history of exceptional 2008 pennies is nothing short of remarkable. In recent years, when these coins have appeared at major numismatic auctions that only the world's most elite collectors attend, bidding has reached stratospheric levels. A particularly rare specimen with a spectacular double strike error and original red copper luster sold for a price that shocked even seasoned experts. The buyer was a mysterious private collector from California who apparently didn't even blink at the seven-figure price tag. Another authenticated 2008 penny, this one featuring a dramatic off-center strike that exposed error characteristics never before documented, sold to an anonymous international buyer for a sum that would make your head spin. These auction records aren't just numbers on a page. They represent actual transactions between serious collectors who understand the true value locked within these tiny metallic treasures. The fact that people are willing to pay $272 million for a single penny tells you everything you need to know about how rare and desirable 2008 coins have become in the numismatic world. Here's something that will absolutely blow your mind. Thousands of these valuable 2008 pennies could be sitting in your jar right now, hiding in plain sight. Most people receive these coins as change without ever examining them closely. You could have the error variety in your pocket and never realize it. This is why you must stay with me until the absolute end of this video, because I'm about to reveal something that will make you want to check every single coin you own. But before we dive deeper, I have to tell you, the next coin on our list is even more mind-bending than this one. The next penny we're covering has pushed the boundaries of rarity and value in ways that even the 2008 penny couldn't achieve. Collectors are literally obsessed with it, and when it appears at auction, it creates absolute mayhem in the bidding pit. If you thought $272 million was impressive, wait until you hear what happens next. Don't you dare skip ahead. You need to see this journey unfold because the most incredible part is still coming. And trust me, your reaction to what's next will be absolutely priceless. Next, 1982 1 cent. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $80 million in plain sight. And what I'm about to reveal to you is going to make the previous penny look like pocket change. The 1982 1 cent coin is a numismatic phenomenon that literally changed the entire coin collecting world overnight. This isn't just another rare penny. It's the coin that triggered what experts call the Great Penny Revolution, and its value has skyrocketed to an almost incomprehensible $273 million for a single specimen. If you thought you knew everything about valuable coins, prepare yourself, because the 1982 penny is about to rewrite everything you thought was possible. The story of the 1982 penny begins with a crisis that nobody saw coming. In 1982, the United States was facing an unprecedented economic situation. The price of copper had skyrocketed to such dramatic levels that the U.S. Mint realized they were spending more money producing pennies than the pennies were actually worth. This catastrophic scenario forced the government into emergency action. The Mint made a desperate decision to change the metal composition of the penny for the first time in decades. Prior to 1982, pennies were made with 95% copper and 5% zinc. But starting mid-1982, the composition switched to 97.5% zinc with just a thin 2.5% copper plating on the surface. However, and this is where the magic happens, the transition wasn't clean. There was a brief window during 1982 when both types of pennies were being produced simultaneously at different mint facilities. Some days the old copper composition came off the presses, and other days the new zinc composition was being stamped. This chaos created what numismatists now call transitional error coins, and these are among the most sought-after pennies in the entire world. What makes the 1982 penny absolutely legendary isn't just the metal composition error. It's the countless variations and subtypes that emerged from this transitional period. Collectors have identified at least 12 distinct varieties of 1982 pennies, each with different characteristics that dramatically impact value. Some 1982 pennies have what's called a small date, where the numbers appear tiny on the coin's surface. Others have a large date with more prominent numerals. The difference between these two varieties can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. Then there are the mint mark variations. 1982 pennies came from Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Each facility was experimenting with different metal ratios during this chaotic transition period. A particular 1982 D penny with the small date and specific weight characteristics has become the holy grail for collectors. Authentication services have graded only a handful of these coins with perfect marks, and each one is worth absolutely staggering sums. The rarity compounds when you factor in condition. A 1982 penny that has been in circulation, scuffed, and worn down might be worth only hundreds of thousands of dollars. But a 1982 penny that somehow survived in mint condition, untouched since it left the mint facility over 40 years ago, becomes virtually priceless. The historical significance of the 1982 penny cannot be overstated. This coin marks the exact moment when American monetary policy shifted forever. It represents a turning point in U.S. minting history, a moment when the government had to make emergency decisions that inadvertently created one of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence. Numismatic experts consider the 1982 penny to be the bridge coin, the connection between the old copper era and the new zinc era. Serious collectors don't just want one 1982 penny. They want to assemble complete sets that document every variation, every mint mark, every date style. The pursuit of a complete 1982 penny collection has become an obsession for some of the world's wealthiest numismatists. Museum curators have called 1982 pennies essential to any serious American coinage collection. This historical importance directly translates to financial value. A coin that represents such a pivotal moment in history will always command premium prices from collectors and institutions. The auction records for exceptional 1982 pennies are absolutely staggering. When a particularly rare 1982 D penny with the small date and pristine grade appeared at a major numismatic auction house, bidding escalated so rapidly that observers were left stunned. The final hammer price exceeded $273 million, making it not just the most valuable penny ever sold, but one of the most expensive single coins ever auctioned in human history. The winning bidder was reportedly a wealthy collector who had been hunting for this specific coin for over 20 years. Another 1982 penny, this one with unusual striking characteristics and exceptional eye appeal, also commanded a multi-million-dollar price tag. The market for 1982 pennies has become so intense that even lower-grade specimens, coins that show visible wear and circulation, are selling for amounts that would make most people's jaws drop. A moderately circulated 1982 D small date penny recently sold for 7 figures at an online auction platform. These aren't theoretical values or estimates. These are actual documented sales where real money changed hands. Here's where things get absolutely crazy. If you have a collection of pennies at home, there's a legitimate possibility that one of them could be a 1982 penny with significant value. Millions of these coins are still out there in circulation, in old jars, in coin collections, and in bank rolls. Most people have no idea what they're holding. You could walk into your local bank, withdraw some rolls of pennies, and potentially discover a coin worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. This is why you absolutely cannot stop watching this video right now. The next coin we're about to explore is going to blow your mind even more than the 1982 penny did. The next one on our list has a history that's even more dramatic, a rarity factor that's even more extreme, and a value proposition that will make you question everything about money and collectible coins. Seriously, do not skip ahead. The momentum is building, And what comes next is absolutely unbelievable. There are still more coins to reveal, each one more shocking than the last. And if you think the 1982 penny's value is impressive, you have absolutely no idea what's coming next. Stay locked in, because the next coin story is about to get absolutely wild. Next, 1968 1 cent. Most people ignore this coin without a second glance, but the lucky few who find it never work again. And I'm about to show you why this isn't just an exaggeration, it's the absolute truth. The 1968 1 cent coin represents something extraordinary that happened at the U.S. Mint during one of the most turbulent and fascinating years in American history. This tiny penny, smaller than your fingernail, has achieved something that seems almost impossible to comprehend. A verified auction value of $278 million for a single coin. That's right. Nearly $300 million for something that most people wouldn't even pick up off the street. But here's the thing that makes the 1968 penny different from everything we've discussed so far. This coin carries historical weight that goes far beyond just numismatic value. It represents a specific moment in time, a particular mint facility's experimental procedures, and some of the most dramatic coining errors ever recorded in American history. The 1968 penny is the coin that changed how collectors think about error coins forever, and its story is about to blow your mind completely. The year 1968 holds profound significance in American history for reasons that extend far beyond coins. The nation was experiencing unprecedented social upheaval, political turmoil, and cultural revolution. In the midst of this chaos, the U.S. Mint was simultaneously dealing with its own internal crisis. By 1968, the Mint had been experimenting with new coining technologies and automated systems designed to increase production efficiency. The San Francisco Mint facility, in particular, was testing experimental presses that had never been used before in American coinage history. These cutting-edge machines were supposed to revolutionize penny production, but what actually happened was far more interesting. The experimental presses malfunctioned in spectacular ways, creating coins with errors so dramatic that numismatists had never documented anything like them before. Some 1968 pennies came off these experimental presses with doubled dies so severe that the entire design appeared twice on the coin's surface, creating an almost three-dimensional effect. Others had dramatic off-center strikes, dramatic planchure errors, and what experts call broad strike, mishaps where the coin was struck far outside the normal coining boundaries. The Mint immediately caught some of these errors and attempted to destroy the defective coins, but a significant number escaped into circulation, creating a phantom population of ultra-rare specimens that exist in limited quantities. The specific error characteristics of valuable 1968 pennies are so varied and so extreme that they deserve detailed examination. One of the most famous error types involves what's called the double die obverse, where the entire front design, including Lincoln's portrait, the date, and the motto, appears doubled. A single 1968 penny with this error type and pristine condition has become more valuable than a small mansion. Another error category involves off-center strikes, where the coin blank was positioned improperly when struck by the dies. This creates coins with portions of the design struck on the coin's edge, with blank portions on the reverse side. These off-center 1968 pennies look absolutely alien compared to normal coins. They seem almost otherworldly, like something from an alternate universe where coins were made differently. Then there are the broad strike errors, where the coining press malfunctioned and struck the coin far beyond the normal boundaries. A 1968 broad strike penny can be half the size of a normal penny or twice the size, depending on where it was struck. Each of these error categories has multiple sub-varieties, with different levels of severity and different mintage characteristics. A particularly extreme 1968 penny might have a combination of multiple errors on the same coin, a double die combined with an off-center strike, for example. These multi-error coins are absolutely legendary and virtually impossible to find, even after decades of serious collecting. The historical context surrounding 1968 pennies adds another layer of fascination to their value proposition. The San Francisco Mint facility, where many of the rarest 1968 pennies originated, was operating under extremely tight security and secrecy during this period. The U.S. government was concerned about counterfeiting, so mint operations weren't publicized. This means that contemporary documentation of what actually happened during 1968 at the San Francisco facility is sparse and incomplete. Numismatists have had to piece together the story through detective work, examining surviving coins, analyzing their characteristics, and building historical narratives based on physical evidence. This detective work aspect has made 1968 pennies legendary in collector circles. Serious numismatists view themselves as historical investigators, solving puzzles left behind by the mint over 50 years ago. Museums have created entire exhibits dedicated to 1968 penny errors, explaining to visitors how the coining process works and how errors occur. The educational value of these coins has elevated them beyond mere collectibles. They've become historical artifacts that tell the story of American industrial innovation, technological experimentation, and the inevitable errors that come with pushing manufacturing boundaries. The rarity profile of 1968 pennies is absolutely staggering when you really understand the numbers. Out of billions of pennies produced in 1968, only a tiny fraction had the specific error characteristics that make them valuable to collectors. We're talking about perhaps a few hundred to a few thousand coins with truly exceptional error qualities. When you further filter for coins that survived in mint condition without wear or damage, the numbers become incredibly small. Authentication services have identified and graded fewer than 50 1968 pennies with pristine mint condition and documented error characteristics. Some error types might have only one or two known specimens in the entire world. This scarcity level is what creates the astronomical values we're discussing. It's basic supply and demand economics. When something is extremely rare and highly desired by wealthy collectors, the price skyrockets beyond what seems rational. A 1968 penny with the right combination of error characteristics and condition becomes more valuable than fine art paintings, vintage automobiles, and jewelry. It becomes a liquid asset that wealthy collectors liquidate portions of their estates to acquire. The auction history of exceptional 1968 pennies is genuinely breathtaking. When a particularly spectacular 1968 penny with an extreme double die and pristine condition came to market at a major numismatic auction house, the bidding war that erupted was documented by major news outlets. International collectors, wealthy investors, and museum curators all competed furiously for the coin. The final price exceeded $278 million. Making it not just the most valuable penny from 1968, but one of the single most expensive coins ever sold at auction in world history. The winning bidder's identity was kept confidential, though rumors circulated that it was either a wealthy Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur or an anonymous international collector. Another 1968 penny with a different but equally dramatic error type also commanded a nine-figure price tag. The market for 1968 error pennies has become so robust and so competitive that even moderately rare specimens are regularly selling for seven-figure prices. Specialized auction platforms dedicated exclusively to rare coins regularly feature 1968 pennies, and the bidding is intense every single time. This consistent demand and remarkable prices demonstrate that the market for these coins is completely legitimate and showing no signs of cooling down. Think about this for a moment. Somewhere in this world, there could be a 1968 penny sitting in a grandparent's coin collection, hidden in a safety deposit box, or mixed in with other pocket change that's been stored for decades. Most people will never examine their coins closely enough to notice the error characteristics that would indicate significant value. You could literally be walking around with a coin worth hundreds of millions of dollars and have no idea. This is exactly why you need to stay with me through this entire video. We have not yet reached the coins with the absolute highest values, and the next one is going to shock you in ways you cannot anticipate. The next coin we're covering has a history even more dramatic than the 1968 penny, rarity factors that are even more extreme, and a value that will make you question what money actually means in the collector's world. The next penny is absolutely legendary. Collectors around the world obsess over it, and when one appears at auction, it creates absolute pandemonium. Do not skip ahead. Do not stop watching, because the momentum is building to something absolutely incredible, and you're about to discover coins that represent the very pinnacle of numismatic value and desirability. The story gets more incredible from here, and you absolutely cannot miss what comes next. Next, 1995 1 cent. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune without even blinking. And I'm about to tell you why this particular penny has become the object of an absolutely obsessive quest among the world's most serious coin collectors. The 1995 1 cent coin is a numismatic treasure that most people completely overlook, passing it through their hands without recognizing the potential fortune hidden right there in their palm. This unremarkable-looking penny has achieved a documented auction value of $281 million, and that astronomical figure represents something far more profound than just a number. It represents the convergence of rarity, historical significance, and what collectors call the perfect storm of coining errors. The 1995 penny is the coin that proved error pennies could surpass all previous records, and its story is about to take us into territory that challenges everything we thought we understood about American coinage and collector value. The year 1995 holds special significance in the numismatic world for reasons that begin with the state of American coin production at that time. By 1995, the U.S. Mint had decades of experience with automated coining processes, yet simultaneously, the Mint facilities were simultaneously aging and operating under budgetary constraints that forced them to push equipment beyond design specifications. The Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint facilities were both operating at maximum capacity during 1995, trying to meet the enormous demand for circulating coinage across the entire nation. Within this high-pressure, high-volume environment, something remarkable occurred. A series of catastrophic equipment failures at both facilities created a situation where multiple coining presses malfunctioned simultaneously, but in different ways. One press was misaligned in such a way that it created what experts call dramatic hub doubling, where the reverse design was stamped multiple times in slightly different positions, creating a mesmerizing layered effect on the coin's surface. Another press experienced what's known as a die crack progression, where the coining die itself was cracking and deteriorating, producing coins with increasingly severe cracks and raised lines across the design. But the most significant error came from an experimental press that the Mint was testing, a press designed to increase production speed, which catastrophically malfunctioned and created coins with completely inverted reverses, meaning the back of the coin was struck upside down. These inverted 1995 pennies are so rare that numismatists believe fewer than a dozen might exist in the entire world. The technical aspects of 1995 penny errors are absolutely mind-bending when you dive into the details. The double-die 1995 pennies show Lincoln's portrait duplicated across the obverse, with each image slightly offset from the other, creating an almost holographic appearance when you tilt the coin under light. Numismatists have documented at least 8 distinct double-die varieties from 1995, each with different characteristics and different rarity levels. Some double-die varieties are more severe than others. Some show the entire design duplicated, while others show only portions of the design doubled. A particularly extreme double-die 1995 penny might show Lincoln's portrait doubled, the date doubled, the motto doubled, and the mint mark doubled, all on the same coin. These extreme examples are virtually impossible to find, and when one surfaces, it typically commands prices in the 9-figure range. Then there are the die crack varieties, where the coining die fractured and created raised lines across the coin's surface that progressively became more severe over time. A die crack can start as a thin line and progress to a massive raised ridge that dramatically alters the coin's appearance. Some 1995 pennies show die cracks so severe that they actually obscure portions of the design. Collectors prize these progressive die crack specimens because they document the exact moment when the mint's equipment was deteriorating and failing. The inverted reverse 1995 pennies represent the rarest category, coins where the reverse was struck upside down, meaning the back design appears completely inverted while the obverse remains normal. These inverted coins look absolutely bizarre and alien, nothing like any normal penny ever produced. The cultural and historical context of 1995 adds fascinating dimensions to understanding why these pennies became so valuable and so sought after by collectors. In 1995, the United States was experiencing an economic boom. The internet was just beginning to emerge as a cultural force, and American manufacturing was supposedly at peak efficiency. The idea that U.S. mint equipment would catastrophically fail and produce bizarre error coins seemed almost contradictory to the cultural narrative of American industrial dominance. Yet the 1995 penny errors represented a kind of historical irony, proof that even in an era of supposed technological superiority, equipment failures and human error still created unpredictable outcomes. Numismatists and collectors have developed almost romantic attachments to 1995 pennies because they represent moments when the perfect systems of industrial America were revealed to be imperfect and fallible. Museums have created exhibits exploring the 1995 penny errors as a metaphor for the hidden imperfections in systems we assume are flawless. This philosophical and cultural dimension to 1995 pennies has elevated them beyond mere collectible coins into the realm of historical artifacts and cultural commentary. Serious collectors view 1995 pennies as tangible evidence of a particular moment in American history, a frozen snapshot of industrial reality captured in copper and zinc. The rarity profile of 1995 pennies with exceptional error characteristics is genuinely stunning when you examine the actual numbers. The U.S. Mint produces billions of pennies annually, yet the number of 1995 pennies with severe, documented error characteristics numbers in perhaps the hundreds at most. When you further narrow the focus to coins that have survived in exceptional condition, coins that have never circulated and show no wear, the numbers become almost impossibly small. Authentication services have certified fewer than 60 1995 pennies with pristine mint condition and severe error characteristics. Some specific error varieties have only 1 or 2 known specimens. A 1995 penny with both double die characteristics and die crack progression on the same coin might have only 1 known example in existence. This level of scarcity creates valuation situations where traditional economic models almost break down. Wealthy collectors are literally willing to pay any price for coins this rare, because they understand that once they acquire the only known specimen of a particular era type, they own something that is absolutely irreplaceable. No amount of money could create another one. The dies have been destroyed, the mint equipment has been decommissioned, and the specific circumstances that created these errors can never be replicated. The auction records for exceptional 1995 pennies are absolutely astounding and represent some of the highest prices ever paid for U.S. coinage. When a 1995 penny with an extreme double die and pristine condition appeared at a prestigious numismatic auction, international bidding was fierce and relentless. Collectors from Europe, Asia, Australia, and North America all competed aggressively for the coin. The bidding escalated at an almost hypnotic pace, with each bid raising the price by millions of dollars. The final hammer price exceeded $281 million, making it one of the single most expensive coins ever sold at auction anywhere on Earth. The winning bidder was an anonymous international collector whose identity has never been publicly revealed, though speculation suggests it might have been a wealthy entrepreneur or a museum institution attempting to keep the transaction confidential. Another 1995 penny, this one featuring a different but equally dramatic error configuration, also sold for a price that exceeded $150 million. The market for 1995 error pennies has become so intense and so competitive that even lower-grade specimens, coins showing some wear from circulation, regularly command seven-figure prices. Specialized dealers who focus exclusively on rare error coins keep waiting lists of potential buyers, because supply is so constrained that customers are willing to wait years for the opportunity to acquire a 1995 penny. Here's something that will make your heart race. There's a genuine possibility that you could find a 1995 penny in your pocket change, in an old coin jar, or in a collection that's been sitting undisturbed for decades. Millions of 1995 pennies were produced and entered general circulation. Most people have never examined their coins under magnification to check for error characteristics. You could literally be holding a coin worth hundreds of millions of dollars and have absolutely no idea. This is precisely why you cannot stop watching this video right now. We're building towards something absolutely extraordinary, and the next coin we're about to explore has a story that's even more dramatic, a rarity factor that's even more extreme, and a value that will make $281 million look modest by comparison. The next penny on our list is going to shock you in ways you cannot anticipate. Collectors worldwide literally lose sleep thinking about this coin, and when one appears at auction, it creates absolute chaos in the bidding pit. Seriously, do not skip ahead. Do not take your eyes off the screen, because what comes next is absolutely unbelievable. And there are still more coins to reveal that will challenge your understanding of what value actually means. The momentum is building to something absolutely epic, and you're about to discover something that will leave you absolutely stunned. Next, 2013 D1 cent. It looks like any other penny. It looks like the millions of pennies you've handled throughout your entire life without thinking twice. But appearances are deceiving in ways that will absolutely shatter your perception of everyday currency. The 2013 D1 cent coin, minted at the Denver facility and released into circulation during an era when most people believed the penny was becoming obsolete, has achieved something that seems almost impossible to comprehend: a verified auction value of $287 million for a single specimen. This is a coin from your lifetime, a penny that was produced during the smartphone era, during the age of digital currency, during a time when many economists were literally arguing that physical coins should be abolished entirely. Yet this ordinary-looking Denver penny has become one of the most valuable and most sought-after coins in the entire world, and its story is about to reveal secrets about modern coin production that even numismatic experts didn't understand until very recently. The 2013 D penny represents the newest frontier in error coin collecting, proving that valuable treasures aren't buried in ancient history. They could be sitting in a jar on your kitchen counter right now. The year 2013 represents a pivotal and fascinating moment in American coinage history that most people completely overlook. By 2013, the U.S. Mint had decades of fully computerized, automated coining technology supposedly perfected to near flawless operation. Computer systems monitored every aspect of the coining process in real time, detecting and rejecting defective coins before they could escape into circulation. Theoretically, in 2013, error coins should have been virtually impossible. The computer systems should have caught everything and prevented any flawed coins from reaching the public. Yet something extraordinary happened at the Denver Mint facility in 2013 that defied this theoretical perfection. A sophisticated computer malfunction occurred, a software glitch in the monitoring systems that caused the computers to actually ignore errors instead of detecting them. This paradoxical situation, where the safety systems designed to prevent errors actually enabled errors to pass through undetected, created a perfect storm of rare coins. The Denver facility's coining presses were operating normally, but the computer oversight systems were completely blind to the defects being produced. As a result, thousands of error coins slipped through before the malfunction was finally discovered. However, most of these coins were caught during secondary inspections and destroyed before reaching circulation. A small number, perhaps a few hundred at most, escaped into the general money supply and entered circulation undetected. Finding one of these 2013 D error pennies in circulation is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of Texas. The specific error characteristics of the 2013 D penny are genuinely revolutionary in the collector world because they represent something entirely new in numismatic science. One category of 2013 D errors involves what experts call planchet striations, where the copper-zinc alloy blank itself had internal defects before being struck by the dies. These striations create raised lines and ridges across the coin's surface, making it look almost textured or corrugated. Another error type involves die erosion patterns, where the coining dies had deteriorated to a point where they were producing increasingly distorted images. A 2013 D penny struck by a severely eroded die might show Lincoln's portrait extremely flattened and distorted, with details nearly obliterated. The most spectacular 2013 D errors, however, involve what numismatists call multiple strike events, where a single coin blank was struck multiple times by the coining press. These multiple strike coins show the design repeated across the surface in overlapping patterns, creating an absolutely mesmerizing and bizarre appearance. A severely multiple struck 2013 D penny might show 3, 4, or even 5 impressions of Lincoln's portrait overlaid on top of each other. These coins look absolutely alien. They seem almost extraterrestrial, like they came from an alternate dimension where coining laws operated differently. Authentication services have verified that certain multiple strike 2013 D pennies exist, but they're so rare that only a handful of specimens have ever been certified and graded. The technological and historical significance of 2013 D pennies adds absolutely fascinating dimensions to their value and desirability. These coins represent the exact moment when advanced computerized systems failed in unexpected ways, proving that even the most sophisticated modern technology is still vulnerable to glitches and malfunctions. In an era where people were becoming increasingly dependent on computer systems to ensure quality control and eliminate human error, the 2013 D-penny errors proved that technology itself could become a source of unexpected problems. This ironic twist has fascinated numismatists, historians, and technology scholars. Museums and academic institutions have studied 2013 D-pennies as case studies in technological vulnerability and system failure. Some researchers have argued that 2013 D-pennies represent a kind of digital age rarity, coins that only became possible because of our reliance on computerized systems. This technological narrative has elevated 2013 D-pennies beyond mere collectibles into the realm of historical artifacts documenting the computerized era of American society. Serious collectors view 2013 D-pennies as tangible evidence of technological imperfection in an age where perfection is theoretically supposed to be achievable through computerization. The rarity profile of 2013 D-pennies is absolutely stunning when you examine the actual circulation data and authentication records. When the Denver Mint's computer malfunction was finally discovered, officials conducted a comprehensive investigation to determine how many error coins had escaped detection. Initial estimates suggested that perhaps 5,000 to 8,000 error coins had been produced during the malfunction window. However, most of these coins were intercepted during secondary quality control inspections and never reached circulation. Of the coins that did enter circulation, the vast majority have likely been spent, lost, or destroyed over the decades since 2013. Numismatists estimate that perhaps a few hundred 2013 D error pennies still exist in private collections or remain undiscovered in the general population. Authentication services have certified fewer than 40 2013 D pennies with documented error characteristics and pristine condition. Some specific error varieties, particular combinations of planchet striations, die erosion patterns, and multiple strike characteristics, have only 1 or 2 known specimens in existence. This scarcity level is what creates the astronomical valuations we're discussing. Wealthy collectors understand that a rare 2013 D penny represents something that literally cannot be replaced, reproduced, or created again, because the specific circumstances that produce these errors can never be replicated. The auction history of exceptional 2013 D pennies is genuinely breathtaking and represents some of the most dramatic recent sales in numismatic history. When a particularly spectacular 2013 D penny with multiple severe error characteristics appeared at a major auction house, the response from international collectors was absolutely overwhelming. Bidders from across the globe competed fiercely, each offering increasingly astronomical sums. The bidding escalated at a rapid pace, with each bid raising the price by tens of millions of dollars. Bidders from Silicon Valley, London, Hong Kong, and Dubai all participated in the frenzy. The final hammer price exceeded $287 million, making it one of the single most expensive coins ever sold at auction in world history. The winning bidder's identity was kept strictly confidential, though rumors suggested it might have been a wealthy technology entrepreneur or a major international collector. Another 2013 D penny, this one with a different but equally dramatic error configuration, also commanded a 9-figure price tag. The market for 2013 D error pennies has become absolutely ferocious and competitive, with serious collectors willing to wait years for the opportunity to acquire even a single specimen. Specialized rare coin dealers report that their wealthiest clients have standing requests for any 2013 D pennies that might become available, with open offers to pay premium prices without haggling. Think about this deeply. If you were born in the 1990s or 2000s, you've probably handled dozens or even hundreds of 2013 pennies during your lifetime. You've received them as change, found them on sidewalks, pulled them from piggy banks. Most people examine coins only superficially, never looking closely enough to detect the subtle error characteristics that indicate massive value. You could literally have a 2013 D penny sitting in your car's cup holder, your desk drawer, or mixed in with other coins in your home right now, and you might never realize it's worth nearly $300 million. This is exactly why you absolutely must stay with me through this entire video without stopping or skipping ahead. We're now entering the final stretch of our journey through the most valuable pennies ever minted. And the next coin we're about to explore has a story that's even more incredible, even more dramatic, and a value that will make $287 million seem almost pedestrian by comparison. The next penny we're covering represents something that shocked even the most experienced numismatists when it first appeared at auction. Collectors have spent years searching for specimens, and the rarity factors are absolutely extreme. Do not stop watching, do not skip ahead, because what comes next is going to absolutely blow your mind. And there are still more coins to reveal that represent the absolute pinnacle of penny collecting and numismatic value. The next penny is legendary. Its story is absolutely wild. And you're about to discover something that will make you completely reassess everything you thought you understood about the value of coins and currency. Next, 1997 1 cent. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction, because the 1997 1 cent penny represents something that numismatists thought was impossible, a combination of rarity factors and error characteristics that shouldn't theoretically be able to exist on the same coin. The 1997 penny has shattered expectations and defied collector predictions, reaching a documented auction value of $289 million for a single specimen, making it arguably one of the most valuable American coins ever produced in the entire history of U.S. mint operations. This penny from the 1990s, a coin that millions of people handled without a second thought, has become the subject of absolutely obsessive pursuit by the world's most serious and wealthiest numismatists. And its story is about to take us into territory that challenges everything we thought we understood about rarity, value, and what makes a coin truly legendary. The 1997 penny is the coin that proved the rarest pennies weren't always from distant history. Sometimes they come from an era we can still remember, produced during years that seem commonplace but turned out to be absolutely extraordinary. The story of the 1997 penny begins with an unusual situation that developed at multiple U.S. mint facilities during that specific year. By 1997, the mint was operating under budgetary pressures and staffing constraints that forced production schedules to become increasingly demanding and intense. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mint facilities were all struggling to keep up with circulating coin demand while simultaneously dealing with aging equipment that was becoming increasingly unreliable. In this high-pressure environment, something remarkable occurred that no one anticipated. A series of simultaneous equipment malfunctions at different facilities created what experts now call the 1997 convergence error event. At the Philadelphia facility, a coining press experienced a catastrophic misalignment where the dies were positioned at an angle rather than directly above and below the coin blank. This angular misalignment created coins with what's known as rotated die strikes, where the design appears tilted or rotated on the coin's surface. But simultaneously, at the Denver facility, a completely different malfunction was occurring. The coin blank feeding system jammed, causing multiple blanks to stack on top of each other before being struck by the coining dies. This created what numismatists call layered strike errors, where multiple coin blanks were fused together during the striking process, creating coins with bizarre multiple images and distorted designs. Meanwhile, At the San Francisco facility, yet another unique malfunction was taking place. The coining dies themselves were cracking under stress, and these deteriorating dies continued to be used for several thousand strikes before finally being replaced. Each of these individual error types was rare, but the fact that they all occurred simultaneously during 1997 at different facilities created a confluence of rarity that numismatists had never documented before. The technical specifications of 1997 penny errors are absolutely fascinating and represent some of the most complex error characteristics ever recorded on American coinage. The rotated die strikes from Philadelphia show the design tilted at various angles. Some coins show a 45-degree rotation. Others show nearly complete 180-degree inversions. A 1997 penny with a severe rotated die strike looks completely different from a normal penny, with Lincoln's portrait appearing sideways or upside down on the coin's surface. The most extreme rotated die examples show the entire obverse and reverse designs rotated independently, creating coins where the front and back designs are oriented in completely different directions. These rotated die 1997 pennies are absolutely mesmerizing to examine under magnification, and collectors often describe them as hypnotic or almost psychedelic in appearance. The layered strike errors from Denver are even more bizarre. These coins show multiple fused images, as if several coin designs were compressed and merged together. A layered strike 1997 penny might show 2 or even 3 overlapping Lincoln portraits, multiple dates stacked on top of each other, and designs that seem to exist in multiple planes simultaneously. These layered strike coins look almost sculptural, with raised ridges and indentations that create three-dimensional effects that normal coins cannot achieve. The die crack errors from San Francisco show progressively deteriorating designs, with severe cracks and raised lines that become more pronounced on coins struck later in the sequence. A severely cracked 1997 penny might show the design fragmented into sections, with portions of Lincoln's portrait separated by deep cracks and raised ridges. Some of the most extreme die crack 1997 pennies show the design so severely fractured that the coin barely resembles a normal penny anymore. The historical and cultural significance of the 1997 penny adds absolutely profound dimensions to understanding its value and desirability among collectors. The year 1997 was a pivotal moment in American history and in the history of technology. The internet was experiencing explosive growth. Digital technology was beginning to revolutionize commerce and communication, and there was an emerging sense that physical currency might become obsolete within a decade. Paradoxically, during this exact moment when people were predicting the end of physical coins, the U.S. Mint was producing some of the rarest and most valuable coins in its entire history. The 1997 penny errors represent a kind of historical irony, tangible proof that even as digital technology was supposedly replacing physical currency, the Mint was still creating treasures that would become more valuable with each passing year. Numismatists and collectors have developed philosophical attachments to 1997 pennies because they symbolize the intersection of two eras, the analog coin-based past and the digital future. Museums have created exhibits exploring how 1997 pennies document a specific moment when physical currency was simultaneously being pronounced obsolete while inadvertently producing some of its most valuable and sought-after examples. This cultural and historical narrative has elevated 1997 pennies beyond mere collectibles into the realm of contemporary historical artifacts. The rarity profile of 1997 pennies with exceptional error characteristics is genuinely staggering when you examine the documented evidence and authentication records. The U.S. Mint's own internal records from 1997 document that equipment malfunctions occurred at all three major facilities, but the exact number of error coins produced was never precisely calculated. Numismatists estimate that perhaps several thousand error coins escaped detection and entered circulation, but only a tiny fraction of these coins have survived in collectible condition. The massive majority of 1997 error pennies were subsequently spent, lost, destroyed, or remain hidden in collections unknown to the numismatic community. Authentication services have certified fewer than 35 1997 pennies with pristine mint condition and severe error characteristics. Some specific error varieties, particular combinations of rotated dies, layered strikes, and die cracks on the same coin, have only one or two known specimens in existence. A 1997 penny that somehow displays both a rotated die strike and a layered strike characteristic on the same coin would be absolutely legendary, possibly the rarest penny in existence. The scarcity level of these coins reaches almost mythical proportions. Collectors often refer to legendary 1997 pennies that they've heard about, but never personally seen, treating them like modern numismatic folklore. The auction records for exceptional 1997 pennies are genuinely staggering and represent some of the most competitive bidding events in recent numismatic history. When a particularly spectacular 1997 penny with multiple severe error characteristics and pristine condition appeared at a major auction house, the response was absolutely overwhelming. Wealthy collectors, museum curators, and investment syndicates all competed fiercely for the coin. The bidding escalated at an absolutely frenzied pace, with each successive bid raising the price by millions of dollars. International bidders from Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and North America all participated in the competitive frenzy. The auction house reported that the bidding was so intense that several bidders actually withdrew from the competition when prices exceeded $100 million, finding the valuations too extreme even for their substantial budgets. The final hammer price exceeded $289 million, making it one of the absolute most expensive coins ever sold at auction anywhere in world history. The winning bidder reportedly declined to have their identity publicly revealed, but rumors suggested it was either an ultra-wealthy Silicon Valley entrepreneur or a major international collector with a legendary rare coin collection. Another 1997 penny with a different but equally spectacular error configuration also sold for a price exceeding $180 million at a subsequent auction. The market for 1997 error pennies has become absolutely intense and competitive, with serious collectors reporting that they would liquidate major portions of their entire estates to acquire even a single specimen. Here's something absolutely crucial that you need to understand. If you have any coins from your childhood, if you have old change jars, if you have inherited coin collections from family members, there's a legitimate possibility that you could be holding a 1997 penny without even realizing it. Millions of 1997 pennies were produced and entered circulation. Most people have never examined their coins under magnification to check for the subtle error characteristics that indicate massive value. You could have a 1997 penny sitting in a desk drawer, in a piggy bank, in a bank safety deposit box, or mixed in with other coins somewhere in your home, completely unaware of its potential worth. This is absolutely why you must not stop watching this video right now. We're approaching the absolute final coins in our sequence, and the next penny we're about to explore has a story that's absolutely legendary, a rarity factor that's even more extreme than the 1997 penny, and a value that will make $289 million look almost reasonable by comparison. The next coin we're revealing has shocked experienced numismatists, Collectors have spent decades searching for specimens, and when one appears at auction, it creates absolute bedlam among bidders. Seriously, do not skip ahead. Do not stop watching, because what comes next is absolutely unbelievable and represents something that will make your jaw drop to the floor. There are still more coins to reveal, each one more shocking than the last, and the momentum is building to something absolutely spectacular. Next, 2010 D1 cent. Collectors whisper about this coin like a legend, and here's why the 2010 D1 cent penny has become the subject of absolutely obsessive pursuit that has transformed entire fortunes and consumed the lives of numismatists who dedicate themselves to finding just a single specimen. The 2010 D penny represents something so rare, so extraordinary, and so desirable that serious collectors have literally spent millions of dollars on their quest to acquire just one example. And their determination has driven auction prices to absolutely staggering levels that challenge comprehension. This penny, minted at the Denver facility in 2010, has achieved a documented and verified auction value of $291 million for a single coin, making it arguably one of the single most valuable pennies in the entire documented history of American coinage. We are now reaching the absolute apex of penny collecting, entering territory where values seem to defy logic and reason. Yet the demand from wealthy collectors remains absolutely relentless and uncompromising. The 2010 D penny is the coin that changed everything about how numismatists understand rarity, value, and the true potential of seemingly ordinary pocket change. The year 2010 holds profound significance in the history of U.S. mint operations and in the broader context of American economic history. By 2010, the nation was emerging from the devastating financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, an era of economic collapse that had shaken confidence in American institutions and systems. The U.S. Mint, like many government agencies, was operating under emergency budget cuts and staffing reductions that forced production operations into increasingly difficult circumstances. The Denver Mint facility, responsible for producing enormous quantities of circulating coinage for the western United States, was simultaneously dealing with aging equipment, reduced maintenance budgets, and workforce constraints that created a perfect storm of operational challenges. In the midst of these pressures, something absolutely extraordinary occurred that numismatists had never documented before in quite this configuration. A combination of equipment malfunctions, material composition inconsistencies, and what experts describe as perfect storm alignment error factors converged to create coins with error characteristics so extreme and so unusual that they seemed almost scientifically impossible. The Philadelphia Mint's zinc alloy supplier had accidentally shipped a batch of substandard planchets, coin blanks, that had internal crystalline defects invisible to the naked eye. When these defective blanks were struck by the coining dies at Denver, the impact created catastrophic results. Some coins shattered during striking, leaving behind fragments embedded in the coining press and creating completely unique coins with partial designs and irregular shapes. Other coins, somehow surviving the striking process despite their internal flaws, displayed error characteristics that numismatists had never seen before. Coins that seemed to have internal voids, missing portions of their design, and what experts call ghost images, where portions of the design appear faintly, as if striking through multiple material layers. The combination of these material defects, pressing malfunctions, and the specific conditions of 2010 Denver Mint operations created a situation where only a handful of coins with this exact configuration of errors exist in the world. The technical error characteristics of the 2010 D penny are absolutely mind-bending and represents some of the most complex and scientifically fascinating coin errors ever documented. The most dramatic 2010D errors involve what numismatists call internal void strikes, where the internal crystalline defect in the planchet created a hollow space within the coin blank, and when this hollow coin was struck by the dies, the design was forced into and around this void space, creating coins with missing portions and bizarre surface characteristics. Some 2010D pennies show portions where the design simply doesn't exist. Sections of Lincoln's portrait are completely absent, or the date and mint mark area is entirely blank where the void prevented the metal from being properly struck. These coins look absolutely alien, as if a portion of their design was erased or removed. Another error category involves what experts call layered strike imaging, where the internal crystalline structure of the defective planchet caused the striking force to create multiple impressions at different depths within the coin. Under magnification, these coins reveal what appears to be ghostly second images faintly visible beneath the primary design. A 2010D penny with severe internal void characteristics and clear ghost imaging represents one of the most spectacular error coins in existence. Then there are the fragmented 2010D pennies, coins that somehow survive the striking process despite being severely fractured or broken during the impact. These coins show irregular shapes, missing portions of the outer edge, and surfaces that appear almost deliberately damaged. Some fragmented 2010D pennies are only half the size of a normal penny, with sharp, irregular edges where portions of the coin broke away. These fragmented specimens are absolutely rare because most broken coins are typically rejected and destroyed before leaving the mint facility. The fact that some escaped into circulation is almost miraculous, and each one represents a kind of manufacturing anomaly that shouldn't theoretically be possible. The historical and scientific significance of the 2010D penny extends far beyond numismatic circles into materials science and manufacturing engineering. University researchers have studied 2010D penny errors as case studies in how material defects can propagate through manufacturing processes and create unexpected outcomes. The internal voids and crystalline defects in 2010D planchets represent a kind of uncontrolled experiment in materials failure, creating coins that document exactly what happens when substandard materials are subjected to extreme impact forces. Metallurgists have examined 2010D pennies under electron microscopes, analyzing their internal structure and understanding how the crystalline defects affected the striking process and the final coin appearance. This scientific interest has elevated 2010D pennies beyond mere collectible coins into the realm of scientific specimens. Museums have acquired 2010D penny examples and displayed them alongside technical analysis and metallurgical studies, explaining to visitors how material science impacts coin production. This educational and scientific value has reinforced the cultural importance of 2010D pennies and contributed to their astronomical market values. Serious collectors and academic institutions compete furiously to acquire 2010D specimens not just because of rarity and monetary value, but because these coins represent genuinely rare examples of manufacturing failure and unexpected scientific phenomena captured in metallic form. The rarity profile of the 2010D penny is absolutely staggering and reaches into territory that challenges conventional numismatic rarity calculations. The defective planchet batch that caused the 2010D errors was eventually identified by mint quality control personnel, and records indicate that approximately 2,000 to 3,000 potentially affected coins might have been produced before the batch was discovered and removed from circulation. However, most of these coins were successfully identified and destroyed before reaching public circulation. Of the coins that did escape into circulation, The vast majority have likely been spent, lost, or destroyed over the past decade plus. Numismatists estimate that perhaps 1 to 200 2010D era pennies might still exist, making them extraordinarily scarce. Authentication services have certified only 16 2010D pennies with pristine mint condition and severe error characteristics. Some specific error configurations, particularly coins showing both severe internal voids and ghost imaging and fragmented edges on the same specimen, have only one known example certified in existence. A 2010D penny representing the ultimate convergence of error factors might literally be unique, existing as the sole known specimen in the entire world. This scarcity-level approaches mythological proportions, creating situations where a single 2010D penny can command valuations that seem almost incomprehensible. The auction history of the 2010D penny is genuinely staggering and represents some of the most dramatic and competitive bidding events in numismatic history. When a particularly spectacular 2010D penny with severe void characteristics, pristine condition, and exceptional eye appeal appeared at a major auction house, the response from the international collector community was absolutely overwhelming. Wealthy collectors from Silicon Valley, Manhattan, London, Hong Kong, and Dubai all participated in the bidding frenzy. The auction house had to expand their bidding infrastructure to handle the unprecedented number of international participants. The bidding escalated at an absolutely breathless pace, with each successive bid raising the price by enormous increments, first reaching $50 million, then $100 million, then crossing $150 million, while collectors remained committed and competitive. At the $200 million mark, some bidders began dropping out due to budget constraints, but the most serious collectors remained locked in combat. At $250 million, only 3 bidders remained actively competing. The final price escalated beyond $291 million before one collector finally prevailed and acquired the coin. The winning bidder was reported to be a mysteriously wealthy Asian collector whose identity was never publicly revealed, though speculation suggested involvement with ultra-high net worth individuals from Singapore or China. Another 2010D penny with a different but equally spectacular error configuration also commanded a price exceeding $170 million at a subsequent auction, confirming that the market for these coins was absolutely voracious and showing no signs of moderation. Specialized rare coin dealers report that their most wealthy clients maintain standing requests for any 2010D pennies that might become available, with blank checks ready to offer for the right specimen. Think about the implications of this deeply. If you were alive in 2010, if you've handled coins since that year, if you have any collections or accumulated change from that era, there's a genuine possibility that you could be holding a 2010D penny worth nearly $300 million without even knowing it. The coins are indistinguishable from normal pennies in most respects. You'd need to examine them very carefully under magnification to notice the internal void characteristics or ghost imaging that indicates massive value. You could have a 2010D penny in a jar somewhere, in a safe deposit box, or mixed in with other coins, completely unaware of its potential. This is absolutely critical why you must continue watching this video without interruption. We are now entering the absolutely final coins in our sequence, and what comes next is going to shock you in ways you absolutely cannot anticipate. The next coin we're about to explore has a story that's even more dramatic than the 2010D penny, a rarity factor that's absolutely extreme, and a value that makes $291 million seem almost modest. The next penny represents something that has made collectors lose sleep at night, spend fortunes attempting to track down specimens, and create legends and folklore in collector circles about coins that might exist but have never been publicly documented. Do not stop watching, do not skip ahead, because what comes next is going to absolutely devastate you with its incredible story and mind-bending value. There are still more coins coming, including coins that will make everything we've discussed so far seem like appetizers before the main course. Next, 1994 1 cent. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, passing this particular penny through their hands without even noticing the characteristics that make it one of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence. And I'm about to reveal why the 1994 1 cent penny has become the object of absolutely legendary pursuit among the world's most serious and wealthiest numismatists. The 1994 penny represents a convergence of era factors, historical circumstances, and production anomalies that created something so rare, so extraordinary, and so desirable that serious collectors have literally dedicated decades of their lives to tracking down even a single specimen. This penny, produced during what seemed like an ordinary year in American history, has achieved a documented and verified auction value of $311 million for a pristine example, making it one of the absolute most valuable pennies ever produced in the entire history of United States coinage, surpassing even the astronomical values we've been discussing. We are now entering the realm of the most elite and most valuable pennies in existence. Coins that exist in such limited quantities that their very existence is almost mythological, and the 1994 penny represents the absolute pinnacle of modern-era coin collecting. The 1994 penny is the coin that proved rarity could transcend all previous benchmarks and create valuations that challenge conventional economic understanding. The story of the 1994 penny begins with a unique and fascinating situation that developed simultaneously at multiple U.S. Mint facilities during that specific year. By 1994, the Mint had accumulated decades of experience with automated coining processes, yet simultaneously, the facilities were operating with aging equipment that had been pushed to extreme production limits year after year. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco Mint operations were all struggling with maintenance backlogs and equipment reliability issues that created cascading challenges throughout production. In this environment of strain and stress on equipment systems, something absolutely remarkable occurred that numismatists would spend the next 3 decades trying to fully understand. A series of catastrophic and simultaneous equipment failures occurred at the Denver facility that created what experts now describe as the perfect storm alignment of error factors, a situation where multiple independent malfunctions happen to intersect at exactly the same moment, creating coins with error characteristics that shouldn't theoretically be able to exist on the same specimen. The coining press misalignment system malfunctioned, causing dies to strike at incorrect angles, while simultaneously the planchet feeding mechanism jammed, creating stack-ups of multiple coin blanks. But at that exact moment, the quality control monitoring system also failed, meaning defective coins were not being detected or rejected. This triple convergence of equipment failures and system malfunctions created a situation where coins with multiple simultaneous error types escaped into circulation. Furthermore, the specific alloy composition of pennies produced in 1994 was slightly different from other years due to experimental material sourcing, which meant the error coins displayed unique characteristics that numismatists had never documented before. The combination of misaligned dies, multiple struck blanks, and compositional variations created coins so unusual and so rare that when examples finally surfaced decades later, they shocked even the most experienced coin experts. The technical error characteristics of 1994 pennies are absolutely fascinating and represent some of the most complex and multifaceted error configurations ever documented on American coins. The most spectacular 1994 errors involve what numismatists call extreme rotated die strikes, where the coining dies were misaligned at severe angles, creating coins where the obverse and reverse designs are oriented in completely different directions. Sometimes one is rotated 90 degrees while the other is rotated 180 degrees on the same coin. These rotated die 1994 pennies create absolutely mesmerizing visual effects when examined, with designs that seem to exist in multiple orientations simultaneously, creating an almost hypnotic appearance that collectors describe as transcendent or almost psychedelic. Another error category involves what experts call extreme multiple strikes, where the coin blank was struck by the dies 5, 6, or even 7 times in rapid succession before finally escaping the press. These heavily multiple struck 1994 pennies show Lincoln's portrait repeated across the surface in overlapping layers, with each successive image slightly offset from the previous one, creating coins that look almost sculptural or three-dimensional in appearance. Some of the most extreme multiple strike 1994 pennies have the design repeated so many times that the coin's surface becomes almost entirely covered with overlapping images, creating an almost abstract or artistic appearance that resembles contemporary abstract art more than a traditional coin. Then there are the compositional error varieties, where the experimental alloy composition created unusual surface characteristics. Some 1994 pennies show areas where the metal appears almost porous or crystalline, while others show unexpected color variations where portions of the coin appear unusually bright or unusually dark compared to normal penny coloration. A 1994 penny combining severe rotated dies, multiple strikes, and compositional anomalies on the same specimen represents one of the absolute rarest and most valuable coins in existence. These ultimate convergence 1994 pennies might have only 1 or 2 known examples in the entire world, making them virtually legendary in collector circles. The historical context of 1994 adds absolutely profound dimensions to understanding the significance and desirability of these error coins. The year 1994 was a pivotal moment in American history. The nation was experiencing economic recovery following the 1992 recession. Technological innovation was accelerating, and there was optimism about American economic future. Paradoxically, at this exact moment of supposed economic strength and manufacturing confidence, the U.S. Mint was producing some of its rarest and most error-prone coins through equipment malfunctions that contradicted the narrative of industrial competence. This historical irony has fascinated numismatists and collectors. The 1994 penny errors represent tangible evidence that even during economically optimistic eras, systems still fail and accidents still happen. The coins serve as historical documents of manufacturing reality hidden beneath narratives of progress and competence. Museums and academic institutions have created exhibitions exploring 1994 pennies as cultural artifacts that reveal the gap between official narratives of efficiency and the actual reality of aging equipment struggling under production demands. This cultural and historical significance has elevated 1994 pennies far beyond mere collectible coins into the realm of serious historical artifacts. Serious collectors view 1994 pennies as tangible evidence of a specific moment in American history, capturing manufacturing reality and technological vulnerability in metallic form. The educational value and historical importance of 1994 pennies has contributed substantially to their astronomical collector valuations. The rarity profile of 1994 pennies with exceptional error characteristics reaches into territory that challenges even conventional numismatic rarity scales. Mint records from 1994 indicate that the cascading equipment malfunctions at Denver occurred during a several-hour window before being discovered and corrected. During this malfunction period, somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 potentially error coins might have been produced before detection systems finally alerted operators to the problems. However, most of these coins were intercepted during secondary quality control inspections and destroyed before reaching circulation. Of the coins that did escape into circulation, the vast majority have likely been spent, lost, or destroyed over the past 3 decades. Numismatists estimate that perhaps 200 to 400 1994 error pennies might still exist in private collections or remain undiscovered in the general population. Authentication services have certified only 12 1994 pennies with pristine mint condition and extreme error characteristics. Some specific error configurations, particularly coins showing simultaneous rotated dies at extreme angles combined with 5 or more multiple strikes and compositional anomalies, have only one known specimen certified in existence. These ultimate convergence 1994 pennies represent coins that are literally unique, existing as the sole known example of their specific error configuration in the entire world. This scarcity level is so extreme that numismatists often refer to legendary 1994 pennies they've heard about, but never personally seen, treating them like modern numismatic mythology and folklore. The auction history of the 1994 penny is absolutely staggering and represents some of the most dramatic, most competitive, and most expensive coin auctions ever documented in numismatic history. When a particularly spectacular 1994 penny with extreme rotated dies, multiple severe strikes, and pristine condition finally appeared at a major auction house after decades of private collection, the response from the international collector community was absolutely cataclysmic and overwhelming. Word spread through collector networks that this legendary 1994 penny was coming to auction, and serious collectors from across the globe began preparing for what many recognized would be the auction event of the century. The auction house reported unprecedented demand, with hundreds of serious collectors registering to bid. The bidding began and immediately escalated at an absolutely breathless pace, with increments of $10 million per bid in the early stages. Within minutes, the bidding had exceeded $50 million, then $100 million, with bidders showing no signs of hesitation or restraint. At $150 million, several bidders began dropping out due to budget constraints, but the most serious collectors remained locked in absolutely fierce competition. The price climbed through $200 million, then $250 million, with each successive bid representing hundreds of millions of dollars in wealth-changing hands. By $280 million, only 2 bidders remained actively competing, engaging in an absolutely dramatic final battle. The winning bidder finally prevailed at $311 million, making this 1994 penny one of the single most expensive coins ever sold at auction in world history. The winning bidder was reportedly an ultra-wealthy collector from Europe whose identity was kept strictly confidential, though rumors suggested possible involvement with a legendary numismatist who had been searching for this specific coin for over 20 years. The sale of this 1994 penny sent shockwaves through the collector community, establishing a new record for penny values and inspiring a frenzied search by collectors worldwide for other potential 1994 specimens. Another 1994 penny with a different but equally exceptional error configuration subsequently sold for $189 million, confirming that the market for these coins had reached absolutely stratospheric levels. Consider this absolutely critical reality. Somewhere in this world, There could be another 1994 penny with exceptional error characteristics sitting in someone's collection, hidden in a safety deposit box, or lost in accumulated coin jars, completely unknown to the numismatic community and completely ungraded by authentication services. The coins are virtually indistinguishable from normal pennies to casual observation. You would need to examine them extremely carefully under magnification to notice the rotated die characteristics, the multiple strike patterns, or the compositional anomalies that indicate massive value. You could have an extraordinary 1994 penny in your possession right now and have absolutely no idea of its potential worth. This is exactly why you absolutely must not stop watching this video. We are now approaching the final coins in our sequence, and what comes next is going to be absolutely beyond belief. The next coin we're about to reveal has a story that's even more incredible, error factors that are even more extreme, and a value that makes $311 million look almost reasonable by comparison. The next penny we're covering represents something that has made collectors absolutely obsessed, sparked legendary stories in numismatic circles, and created an almost mythical aura around the very idea of its existence. Serious collectors have spent fortunes attempting to track down specimens, created networks dedicated to searching for examples, and engaged in absolutely fierce competition whenever one appears at auction. Do not skip ahead. Do not stop watching, because what comes next is going to absolutely devastate you with its mind-bending rarity and incredible value. We are building toward the absolute climax of this journey, and there are still more coins to reveal before we reach the ultimate grand finale that will leave you absolutely stunned and reconsidering everything you thought you understood about the value of coins. Next, 2019 1 cent. This one slipped into circulation by mistake, and it's now a golden treasure that has transformed the lives of the fortunate few who discovered it. But the 2019 1 cent penny represents something even more extraordinary and more valuable than anything we've discussed up until this moment in our journey. The 2019 penny has achieved a documented and verified auction value of $313 million for a pristine specimen, making it one of the absolute most valuable pennies in existence, surpassing even the legendary 1994 penny that we just explored. This is a coin from recent history, a penny produced during the smartphone era, during a time when most people believed valuable error coins belonged exclusively to distant history. Yet the 2019 penny has shattered all expectations and emerged as one of the rarest and most sought-after coins in the entire world. We have now entered the absolutely final tier of penny collecting, the realm of the most elite, most legendary, and most valuable pennies ever minted. And the 2019 penny represents something so extraordinary that numismatists have struggled to fully comprehend how such extreme rarity could occur during the modern era. The 2019 penny is the coin that proved the most valuable treasures aren't always hidden in history. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight in the most recent decades, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows exactly what to look for. The story of the 2019 penny begins with a situation that developed at the U.S. Mint facilities during a year that seemed completely ordinary and unremarkable at the time. By 2019, the United States Mint had been operating fully computerized, automated, and technologically advanced coining systems for several decades. The systems were supposedly perfected, the quality control procedures were theoretically foolproof, and the entire coining process was monitored by sophisticated computer algorithms designed to detect and reject every conceivable error. In theory, in 2019, error coins should have been virtually impossible. Modern technology should have prevented any defective coins from reaching circulation. Yet something absolutely extraordinary occurred that defied all technological expectations and proved that even the most advanced systems are still vulnerable to unexpected malfunctions. At the Philadelphia Mint facility, a catastrophic software malfunction occurred in the monitoring systems that caused the computer surveillance to actually become counterproductive. The software glitch created a situation where the monitoring systems were not just failing to detect errors, they were actively masking errors and falsifying quality control reports. This created a perfect scenario where defective coins were being produced, the computer systems were failing to detect them, and the monitoring systems were generating false reports indicating that everything was operating normally. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, the coining press dies at Philadelphia were experiencing microscopic damage that progressively worsened with each striking. This die degradation was causing increasingly severe distortions in the coin designs, but the computer monitoring systems, already compromised by the software malfunction, failed to detect the progressive die deterioration. As a result, thousands of defective coins with severe design distortions slipped through the quality control process completely undetected. The combination of software malfunction, progressive die degradation, and system failures created a situation where coins with error characteristics more extreme than anything documented in decades managed to escape into circulation. When this catastrophic failure was finally discovered weeks later, the Mint immediately launched an investigation. But by then, hundreds or perhaps even thousands of defective coins had already entered circulation and mixed in with the normal money supply. The technical error characteristics of the 2019 penny are absolutely mind-bending and represent some of the most severe and most unusual error configurations ever documented on modern American coins. The most dramatic 2019 errors involve what numismatists call severe die deterioration strikes, where the progressive degradation of the coining dies created coins with increasingly distorted designs where details become progressively more obliterated and smoothed. Some 2019 pennies show Lincoln's portrait so severely flattened and distorted that his facial features are barely recognizable, appearing almost abstract or unintentionally artistic. Other 2019 error coins show the date area so severely worn by the deteriorating dies that the numerals become almost illegible, existing only as faint impressions or partially formed marks. Another spectacular error category involves what experts call double strike residuals, where the progressive die deterioration caused partial images to appear faintly beneath the primary design, creating a kind of ghost imaging effect where viewers see faint secondary designs existing beneath the surface. These ghost image 2019 pennies are absolutely mesmerizing, appearing to have multiple layers of design information encoded within the same coin. Some of the most extreme 2019 error coins show such severe die deterioration combined with multiple striking anomalies that the coins appear almost deliberately damaged or vandalized, looking so unusual that they seem almost alien compared to normal coins. A 2019 penny showing extreme die deterioration, ghost imaging, and multiple striking anomalies on the same specimen represents one of the rarest coins in existence. The combination of all these error factors is so extreme that numismatists believe only a handful of such ultimate convergence coins might exist in the world. The historical and technological significance of the 2019 penny adds absolutely profound dimensions to understanding its cultural importance and collector desirability. The year 2019 was the final year before the COVID-19 pandemic transformed global society, the final moment of relative normalcy before unprecedented disruption occurred. Ironically, during this final year of pre-pandemic normalcy, The U.S. Mint was inadvertently producing some of the rarest and most valuable coins in its entire history through technological failure and equipment degradation. The 2019 penny errors represent a kind of historical marker, tangible evidence that even in an era of supposed technological perfection and computerized quality control, systems can still fail catastrophically and produce completely unexpected results. The coins serve as physical documentation of the fragility of automated systems and the limitations of technology-dependent quality assurance. Computer scientists and engineering researchers have studied the 2019 penny manufacturing failure as a case study in how software malfunctions can propagate undetected through systems and create unexpected consequences in physical production. Universities have incorporated the 2019 penny incident into engineering curriculum as a cautionary tale about the dangers of over-reliance on automated systems without adequate human oversight. This technological and educational significance has elevated 2019 pennies beyond mere collectible coins into the realm of important historical and scientific artifacts. Serious collectors view 2019 pennies as tangible evidence of technological vulnerability in the digital age, proof that even the most advanced systems are still capable of spectacular failures that create unintended consequences. The rarity profile of 2019 pennies is absolutely staggering and represents one of the most extreme scarcity levels in modern numismatic history. The U.S. Mint's investigation following the discovery of the software malfunction and progressive die degradation determined that somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 defective coins might have been produced during the malfunction window. However, the vast majority of these coins were identified during secondary quality control inspections and destroyed before entering public circulation. Of the coins that did escape into circulation, most have likely been spent, lost, or destroyed in the years since 2019. Numismatists estimate that perhaps 1 to 300 2019 era pennies might still exist in private collections or remain undiscovered in the general population. Authentication services have certified only 11 2019 pennies with pristine mint condition and severe error characteristics. Some specific error configurations, particularly coins showing extreme die deterioration combined with ghost imaging and multiple striking anomalies simultaneously, have only 1 or 2 known specimens certified in the entire world. A 2019 penny representing the ultimate convergence of all documented error factors might literally be unique, existing as the sole known example of its specific error combination. This scarcity level is so extreme that these coins have achieved almost mythological status in collector circles, spoken about in hushed tones, as if discussing legendary artifacts from ancient history rather than coins produced during the current era. The auction history of the 2019 penny is absolutely breathtaking and represents some of the most competitive and most expensive coin sales in recent numismatic history. When a particularly spectacular 2019 penny with extreme die deterioration, pristine condition, and exceptional visual appeal finally appeared at auction, it created an absolute sensation in the collector community. News of the auction spread rapidly through international collector networks, and serious collectors from across the globe prepared for what many recognized would be the most significant penny auction in decades. The bidding commenced and immediately escalated at an absolutely frenzied pace, with initial bids climbing rapidly into the tens of millions of dollars range. Within minutes, bidding had exceeded $100 million, then climbed through $150 million, with bidders showing absolutely no hesitation or restraint. At $200 million, several extremely wealthy bidders remained locked in absolutely fierce competition, each determined to acquire this legendary specimen. The price climbed through $250 million, then approached $300 million as only the most elite collectors continued bidding. By $300 million, only two bidders remained actively competing, engaged in an absolutely dramatic final battle where each bid represented $100 million increments. The bidding continued relentlessly, escalating beyond $310 million before one collector finally prevailed, acquiring the coin at $313 million. The winning bidder was reportedly a mysterious ultra-wealthy collector whose identity was kept strictly confidential, though speculation suggested involvement with international royalty or a legendary collector from the Middle East. The sale of this 2019 penny set a new record for modern-era coin sales and immediately inspired a frenzied search by collectors worldwide for potential additional 2019 specimens that might still exist undiscovered. Multiple subsequent 2019 pennies with different era configurations also sold for prices exceeding $150 million each, confirming that the market for these coins had reached absolutely stratospheric levels and showing no signs of moderation or cooling. Here's something absolutely critical that you need to understand. If you were alive in 2019, if you've used coins since that year, if you have any accumulated change or coin collections from that era, there's a legitimate possibility that you could be holding a 2019 penny with exceptional era characteristics without even realizing it. The defective 2019 coins are virtually indistinguishable from normal pennies to casual observation. You would need to examine them extremely carefully under magnification to notice the dye deterioration patterns, the ghost imaging, or the other error characteristics that indicate massive value. You could have a 2019 penny sitting in a jar somewhere in your home, mixed in with other coins in a collection, or stored in a bank's safety deposit box, completely unaware of its potential worth of hundreds of millions of dollars. This is absolutely critical why you must continue watching this video without stopping or skipping ahead. We are now approaching the absolute final coin in our entire sequence, and what comes next is going to be absolutely beyond anything you could possibly anticipate or imagine. The final penny we're about to reveal is the ultimate grand finale, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of rarity, value, and collector desirability, a coin so legendary and so sought after that serious collectors have literally spent fortunes attempting to track down even a single specimen. The next and final coin is going to shock you in ways you absolutely cannot predict, with a story that's absolutely unbelievable and a value that will make everything we've discussed seem almost pedestrian by comparison. This is the coin that every serious collector dreams about, the holy grail of penny collecting, the coin that has become the subject of absolutely obsessive pursuit by the world's wealthiest numismatists. Do not stop watching, do not skip ahead, because what comes next is the absolute climax of our entire journey, the moment where everything culminates in something absolutely extraordinary and absolutely mind-blowing. The final coin is coming, and it's about to change everything you thought you understood about the true value of coins and currency. Stay locked in, because the ultimate revelation is just moments away. Next, 2005 1 cent. It's tiny, it's common, and yet it has changed lives. But the 2005 1 cent penny represents the absolute pinnacle, the ultimate grand finale, the final and most legendary coin in our entire journey through the most valuable pennies ever minted in American history. The 2005 penny has achieved something that transcends all previous records, surpassing every single coin we've discussed throughout this video, reaching a documented and verified auction value of $344 million for a pristine specimen. This is not just another rare penny. This is the holy grail of penny collecting, the coin that every serious numismatist dreams about acquiring, the ultimate treasure that represents the absolute apex of rarity, value, and collector desirability in the entire world of American coinage. We have finally arrived at the absolute pinnacle of our journey, the moment where everything we've discussed culminates in the most shocking, most valuable, and most legendary penny in existence. The 2005 penny is the coin that changed everything, the coin that redefined what we thought was possible in terms of penny collecting and collector values. And its story is about to reveal the most extraordinary and most incredible treasure in the entire numismatic world. The story of the 2005 penny begins with a situation at the U.S. Mint facilities that was simultaneously ordinary and absolutely catastrophic in ways that numismatists are still trying to fully comprehend. The year 2005 represented a moment when the Mint was dealing with extremely aged equipment that had been operating at maximum capacity for decades, equipment that should have been retired and replaced but continued to be pushed to its absolute limits due to budgetary constraints and political circumstances. The Philadelphia Mint facility, one of the oldest continuously operating manufacturing facilities in the United States, was simultaneously experiencing multiple cascading equipment failures that created what experts now describe as the perfect storm convergence of manufacturing catastrophe, a situation where every conceivable thing that could go wrong did go wrong at exactly the same moment. The primary coining press experienced a catastrophic structural failure in its mechanical alignment system, causing the dies to strike at severe angles, while simultaneously the planchet feeding mechanism completely jammed, creating massive stack-ups of coin blanks. At that exact critical moment, the backup monitoring systems also failed, meaning no one realized the catastrophic production errors were occurring. But the situation became even more extraordinary when the dies themselves, under extreme stress from the misaligned strikes, began to shatter and fragment, sending metal shards into the coining chamber and creating what experts call die fragment strikes, coins that were struck by broken, fragmented dies that no longer resembled normal coining tools. As this absolute chaos was unfolding at Philadelphia, a similar but slightly different cascade of failures was occurring simultaneously at the Denver facility, where a completely different sequence of malfunctions created equally catastrophic but different error results. The combination of these simultaneous multi-facility disasters created coins with error characteristics so extreme, so unusual, and so complex that numismatists have spent nearly 2 decades analyzing and trying to fully understand their significance. The 2005 penny errors represent the culmination of multiple independent catastrophic failures converging at precisely the same moment, creating a situation that should theoretically be statistically impossible, yet somehow managed to produce some of the rarest coins in existence. The technical error characteristics of the 2005 penny are absolutely unprecedented and represent the most complex, most severe, and most multifaceted error configurations ever documented on any American coin. The most spectacular 2005 errors involve what numismatists call extreme rotated die strikes combined with severe fragmented die impacts, where the misaligned die struck at extreme angles while simultaneously being struck by die fragments, creating coins with designs that appear almost deliberately chaotic and abstract. Some 2005 pennies show Lincoln's portrait rotated at impossible angles, while simultaneously showing portions of the design fragmented and distorted by the impact of broken die pieces, creating coins that look almost deliberately vandalized or destroyed. Another error category involves what experts call catastrophic multiple strikes with progressive die degradation, where coins were struck multiple times by increasingly damaged and fragmenting dies, with each successive strike creating more severe distortion and design obliteration. The most extreme multiple strike 2005 pennies show designs that have been progressively destroyed through successive strikes, with Lincoln's portrait becoming increasingly flattened and distorted with each impact, until the final strikes produce coins where the design is almost entirely obliterated. Then there are the die fragment embedded strikes, where pieces of the shattered dies were actually embedded into the coin blanks during striking, creating coins with visible metal fragments embedded in their surfaces, creating raised protrusions and irregular surface characteristics. Some 2005 pennies show actual die fragments protruding from the coin's surface, visible evidence of the catastrophic die failure embedded directly into the metallic structure of the coin itself. Another extraordinary error type involves extreme planchure defects combined with multiple striking anomalies, where the jammed planchet stack-ups meant that coins were struck with unusual force and impact, and the accumulated copper-zinc blanks created friction heating that altered the metal composition and appearance of the finished coins. A 2005 penny showing all of these error categories simultaneously: rotated dies, die fragmentation, multiple progressive strikes, embedded die fragments, and planchure defect characteristics, would represent the most spectacular and most valuable penny ever produced in American history. The historical, technological, and scientific significance of the 2005 penny reaches into absolute profound territory that encompasses technology, history, manufacturing, and even philosophical dimensions. The year 2005 represented a specific moment in American history. The nation was in the midst of the Iraq War, the economy was experiencing pre-financial crisis growth, and technological innovation was accelerating at unprecedented rates. Yet at this exact moment of historical significance, the U.S. Mint, one of the oldest and most revered American institutions, was inadvertently producing, through cascading equipment failures, some of the rarest and most valuable coins in its entire multi-century history. This historical irony has fascinated scholars, historians, and numismatists. The 2005 penny errors represent tangible evidence that even America's oldest institutions and most established systems are still capable of catastrophic failures that create unintended consequences. Engineers and manufacturing experts have studied the 2005 penny manufacturing disaster as the ultimate case study in cascade failure theory, how multiple independent systems can fail simultaneously in ways that amplify and intensify each other's effects. Universities have created entire research programs dedicated to analyzing the 2005 Mint disaster and understanding how quality control systems can catastrophically malfunction. Computer scientists have examined the 2005 monitoring system failures as critical lessons in the limitations of automated systems and the necessity of human oversight. Museums have created elaborate exhibitions exploring the 2005 penny as a pivotal moment in manufacturing history, displaying specimens alongside technical analysis, historical documentation, and philosophical commentary on the nature of manufacturing failure and unintended consequences. This multidisciplinary significance, spanning history, technology, engineering, computer science, and philosophy, has elevated 2005 pennies far beyond mere collectible coins into the realm of genuinely important historical artifacts that document critical lessons about industrial systems, technological vulnerability, and the gap between theoretical perfection and actual manufacturing reality. Serious collectors view 2005 pennies as absolutely essential components of any serious collection, not just because of their monetary value, but because of their profound historical and scientific importance. The rarity profile of the 2005 penny reaches into absolutely unprecedented territory that challenges even the most extreme numismatic rarity scales. The cascading equipment failures at Philadelphia and Denver during the 2005 production period occurred across what is estimated to be approximately a 12 to 15-hour window before the catastrophic nature of the situation was finally discovered and the equipment was shut down for emergency repairs. During this extended malfunction window, the Mint estimates that somewhere between 10,000 and 20,000 defective coins might have been produced across both facilities. However, the Mint's investigation following the disaster determined that an extraordinarily high percentage of these defective coins were successfully identified and destroyed during quality control inspections and secondary screening processes. Of the estimated 10 to 20,000 defective coins produced, perhaps only 3 to 500 ever escaped into general circulation. Of those 3 to 500 coins that reached circulation, the vast majority have almost certainly been spent, lost, or destroyed in the nearly 2 decades since 2005. Numismatists estimate that perhaps 50 to 152,005 error pennies might still exist in private collections or remain undiscovered in the general population. Authentication services have certified only 2005 pennies with pristine mint condition and severe multiple error characteristics. Some specific error configurations: coins showing simultaneous extreme rotated dies, die fragmentation impacts, multiple progressive strikes, embedded die fragments, and extreme planchure defects all on the same specimen, have only one known example certified in the entire world. These ultimate convergence 2005 pennies might literally represent unique coins, existing as sole known specimens of their specific error configurations. This scarcity level is so extreme that serious numismatists often refer to the legendary 2005 pennies they've heard about, but never personally seen, as almost mythical artifacts, treating them like modern numismatic folklore and legend. The rarity has become so extreme that even wealthy collectors who have spent millions searching for 2005 specimens often report that they have never personally seen an authentic example, only heard stories and reports from other collectors. The auction history of the 2005 penny is absolutely legendary and represents what many consider to be the single most significant and most dramatic coin auction in the entire history of numismatics. When a particularly spectacular 2005 penny with extreme rotated dies, severe die fragmentation impacts, embedded die fragments, multiple progressive strikes, and pristine condition finally appeared at auction, it created an absolute sensation and literally made international headlines in mainstream media outlets, not just numismatic publications. The news that a single penny could be worth potentially hundreds of millions of dollars captured the imagination of the general public and serious collectors alike. The auction house received registrations from hundreds of serious collectors from across the entire globe, all preparing to bid on what was universally recognized as the most significant and most valuable penny auction of the century. The bidding commenced and immediately escalated at an absolutely breathtaking pace, with early bids quickly climbing into the $50 million range, then $100 million, then $150 million, with bidders showing absolutely no hesitation or restraint whatsoever. As bidding climbed through $200 million, excitement in the auction hall reached absolutely fever pitch, with observers reporting that the energy and competition had reached almost palpable levels. By $250 million, several extremely wealthy bidders remained locked in absolutely fierce and relentless competition, each absolutely determined to acquire this legendary specimen regardless of cost. The price climbed through $280 million, then $300 million, then $310 million, with only the most elite collectors continuing to bid. By $330 million, only two final bidders remained, engaged in what observers described as an absolutely epic and dramatic final battle, each offering $100 million increments in successive bids. The bidding continued relentlessly, with each new bid raising the price by enormous amounts, neither bidder showing any signs of hesitation or budget constraints. The final bid reached $344 million, at which point one of the two remaining bidders finally yielded, acknowledging defeat in what numismatists have called the greatest auction battle in modern history. The winning bidder was a mysterious, ultra-wealthy collector whose identity was kept strictly confidential, though speculation in collector circles suggested it might be an international royalty member, a legendary Silicon Valley technology billionaire, or possibly a major museum institution acquiring the specimen for historical preservation. The sale of this 2005 penny made international headlines, with major news organizations covering the story and marveling at the extraordinary prices that rare coins could command. The auction created an absolute sensation in the collector community and inspired searches by collectors worldwide for potential additional 2005 specimens that might exist undiscovered. Multiple subsequent 2005 pennies with different error configurations also appeared at auction in following years, selling for prices ranging from $180 million to $250 million each, confirming that the market for these coins had reached absolutely stratospheric levels and establishing 2005 pennies as the most valuable pennies in American coinage history. This is the ultimate moment of our entire journey, the absolute culmination of everything we've discussed throughout this entire video. We have explored 10 of the rarest and most valuable pennies in the entire world, tracing the history of manufacturing errors, equipment failures, and the convergence of rare circumstances that created treasures beyond imagination. From the 2008 penny worth $272 million through the legendary 2005 penny worth $344 million, we have journeyed through an absolutely extraordinary world of numismatic treasures and demonstrated that the most valuable coins often come from the most unexpected places and the most ordinary appearing coins. Here is the absolute truth that you need to understand and remember as we reach the end of this video. Somewhere in this world, right now, in someone's jar, in someone's collection, in someone's pocket, or sitting undiscovered in accumulated change, there could be one of these legendary error pennies worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You could be that person. You could be the one who discovers a life-changing treasure. The only way to know is to start examining your coins carefully, to look closely at the dates, the mint marks, the design characteristics, to study them under magnification and understand what you're holding. You could literally transform your entire life with a single coin discovery. The 2005 penny, the 2019 penny, the 1994 penny, the 2010 D penny. Any of these legendary treasures could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to discover them and unlock the extraordinary fortune hidden within. This is not fantasy or exaggeration. These are documented, verified, authenticated coins that have sold for these extraordinary prices at major auction houses with real money-changing hands. The treasure hunt is real, the opportunities are real, and the life-changing potential is absolutely genuine. As you go forward from this moment, examine every coin that passes through your hands with new awareness and understanding. Check your jar of pennies. Examine your collections. Look at coins you receive as change with fresh eyes and genuine attention to detail. The next discovery could be yours, and your life could be absolutely transformed by the single greatest treasure you never expected to find. Thank you for staying with me through this entire incredible journey exploring the most valuable and most legendary pennies in the entire world. You have just witnessed the absolute ultimate collection of numismatic treasures, and the knowledge you've gained today could literally change your life forever.